Tempted by one of the range of Heinkel 162s from AZ Model? Well, before you head out to order one from your favourite store, be that online or in the real world, come and have a look at how I built my one right here on Gary Stuff. Hi, I'm Gary and today I'm making the Heinkel HE-162A in 1/72 scale from AZ Model. If you like the show, please remember to give it the imperial thumbs up on the like button below, as every like counts, and to support the channel at no cost, please make sure you've subscribed. Hit the bell and you'll be notified of all my future content. Other ways to support the channel are listed in the information box below. So let's make a start and see how this kit goes together. The first bit that's going to go together is this, which is the nose wheel well. It also forms part of the interior of the cockpit. It just comes in two halves like so. And we have to get our glue. There we go. Get our cement ready. None of these parts come with tabs, alignment tabs or alignment studs or anything like that. All of this has got to be done by guesswork and by eye and by feel and by that kind of looks right. So be prepared for a lot of fiddling around. For these things, but that's what that looks like anyway. We'll just tidy it up a bit when it's dry. Then these very tiny rudder pedals can sit either side of this central console. Then these very tiny rudder pedals can go on. What you will find on a lot of these parts is that the injection gate here actually crosses over something like this. This is supposed to be a slot for the rear seat back to sit into, and of course it can't because there's this big blob of plastic. So what I could always do is trim them down, then use one of these chisel shaped blades just to sort of chase it out along there, and then use some sandpaper to finally file it down. So I can put the seat back onto the rear bulkhead of the cockpit first. So then we're going to add the base of the seat like this. What I want to do now is put the bulkhead in place here, and that means I can actually sit the foot of the chair there, and that gives me the angle of the chair properly. I'll let that sit in there and I will then paint it up and put in the front end afterwards. I'm also going to put the control column into this track at the bottom now. That's going to help me later on, as you will see. And just let that dry really well. I can very delicately place the gun sight on top of the instrument panel cover. Yeah, let that dry, then we're going to paint most of that black. The instrument panel here, I've painted it black, dry brushed it with white, picked out a few colours almost at random really, and then just a few dots of white in the middle for the dials and the hands on the dials. Remember, this is going to be looked at through a pretty thick canopy, so it's all about sort of suggesting detail rather than actually providing it. Then I'm going to slot in the control column on its little track-like thing, like so. Then the nose wheel sits on the top of the opening for it here. You can see it just kind of lines up like that. And very carefully we apply the instrument panel to the instrument housing, the coaming, like so. The main gear compartment, the instructions say to make this before you put it in, but I actually find it a lot easier to do this first and then put the fuselage together. The intake is intake fan, first compressor stage, whatever you call it. Goes in here at the front, and the rear turbine goes here. Just sits in the space here, like so, and then we can put the two halves of the fuselage together. We can then start to assemble the tailplane. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with any tabs or slots or anything like that, so you kind of just got to do it by eye. As long as it is at right angles to the tailplane element there, and kind of line up the mounting here. You can see there's like the rudder sections come to a V here. That needs to be along the trailing edge of the elevator there, and yeah, kind of sort of like that really. There's a small fillet that goes onto the back here, which carries the tailplane, because this model is set up to be more than one version of the Heinkel. Some versions, proposed versions, had sort of V tails, so that's the standard tailplane. Then the tailplane assembly can go onto the back end of the fuselage, like so. Then the wings can go on. There's just this one locating pin. It doesn't really provide any support at all. But let's see if we can get it to roughly stay in the right place. Now for the canopy, I've got a very simple masking set. It's just, with all these curves, it's a lot easier to just get a mask. The one I'm using is the P-Wit Heinkel He-162 mask. Well, canopy mask was completely the wrong shape for this canopy, so I've masked it off myself, and I'm putting the canopy on, and I'm using some aka Crystal Magic glue, some clear PVA glue to hold it in place. Now I've primed the aircraft, and the first thing we're going to do is put the pale blue on the underside. I've painted the undersides in light blue, and now the top surface I'm going to do in RLM 82 light green with this Vallejo paint here. And I've painted the inlet a different colour. I think this is probably best if you do this separately to the main body. It's a lot easier to get the line of the colour right and then just put it on afterwards, like so. We can start putting decals onto the kit as well. The main gear leg slots into position here in the bay, and then there's a shock leg that actuator or something goes in here. So then the bay door goes in here. The nose wheel goes into a slot here. The nose gear bay slots into the side. You'll notice I filled this with liquid gravity as well, because just to get the nose to sit on the ground, it's really, really difficult to get enough weight in there. So there we have it then, the Heinkel HE-162A in 1/72nd scale from AZ model. I wish I could say a lot of good things about this, apart from the fact it's a 1/72nd scale Heinkel 162A, but I really can't. I mean, it's not the nicest thing to build. Cockpit is really tricky. The parts don't really go together all that well. There's plenty of variety available, but maybe if they'd have just concentrated on the one type, then it would have been a much, much better model. Didn't really enjoy making it, but if you like a 162, if you like to have lots of different options about what if it was developed, then I guess this is the kit for you. There must be 6 or 7 different varieties, even more if you include the ones powered by the Argus pulse jets. So would I recommend building this? Only if you really, really, really like the Heinkel 162. There it is, the Heinkel HE-162A. If you like the video, please remember to give it the imperial thumbs up on the like button below, because every like counts. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much for watching. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye.